the carpet out of the trunk of the 57 here to get started on replacing the tub. I think we showed before that the replacement tub came with the car, and that's the only reason why we're going to deal with it. We already knew that the trunk is the worst of the whole car. This is the worst of it. We didn't want to get into the bodywork, and it's kind of painful because now taking the carpet out and getting a good look at it, it's going to kill me, but I'm not going to do anything with it right now.
Okay, get in.
After we put the tub in it, we're just going to clean it, put the carpet back in. Looks like it's just sitting in here. It looks like it just has the sealant that kind of holds it in. There might be a couple spot welds, so I'm just going to start with chiseling it out and get this old one out of here. Just continue to move forward to get this car back together. So let me get, I'm going to get a little screwdriver and a hammer. When I started to get this out, I thought I could just do it with a screwdriver and a hammer, but I didn't know how many spot welds were in there. There wound up being quite a bit. So I went to the air chisel, and then I would chisel off a spot weld, and then I would pull it back with a pair of pliers and work my way around and find each one of them, and I would just knock it off with the air chisel, and it worked out a lot better, went a lot quicker. Then over by the spare tire, little hold down, floor is a lot worse. I tried to cut the tub out of the way to try to be careful with the floor, then just cut it back a little at a time. Kind of messed up the floor here in a couple spots underneath here where the tub mounts to it, welds to it, but down the road it'll be swapped out when we or somebody else fixes the floor. So this is just installing the tub, dealing with the part we have right now, not doing the whole floor. Let's do a trial fit here and see where we're at. I might have to do something with this thing because the slide's underneath it, so we'll see if we can get it in there. I think I'm just gonna go for it. I got a screwdriver here. I'm gonna go through for a little handle. I think I can go. There it is, see? This floor is so bad, it's hard to tell, but I'm gonna use some self-tappers to pull it tight. I'm only gonna do a little bit of spot weld and I'll drill some holes in it. I'm gonna drill roughly, I don't know, even them out, something, 6 or so spots where I'm gonna spot weld it, and then I'll put a screw close by it to suck the floor up tight, and then I'll have to weld up the hole where the screw was, so it might be a couple more. I think, if it sucks down tight and you get the floor to suck up right here, it seems to fit pretty good. All right, so I got it cleaned up here. Let's try this here, see if we got this figured out. Just cram this back in here. I got some self-tappers here. We're gonna get it held in place. So I wound up using more screws, more holding points, more tacks than I initially planned on. So what I'm gonna do now is I got the one in between here, so I'm just gonna work around the line. I'm gonna start here, I'm gonna pull this one out, I'm gonna tack it, I'll move that screw over here, pull that one out, tack it, so on and so forth. I'll show you, just watch.
Okay.
Now that I have that one tacked, I took that screw out, obviously to tack it. I put that screw in here. So now I'm gonna take this one out, kind of like a leapfrog. And now we're gonna tack this one. So on and so forth.
A very boring amount of time later.
I got the spare tire wheel here, all finished up.
Spare wheel here, all tub.
We got the spare tire tub all finished up here. We got it installed. I'm about 80% happy with the outcome, but it's because of the floor over here is so flimsy. There's like no structure. This side wasn't that bad. This side turned out really good, but this side over here was just, it's nice and solid. It turned out good. I got the plugs out of the old one. One of them has a little hole in it, but not that it really matters. I got plenty of spaces. If we have any water in the trunk here, it can get out, but nevertheless. So now we're gonna go get the rear end. We're gonna get the rear end cleaned up and painted and ready. So let's get that thing cleaned up. Here is the gorgeous rear end. We have it all cleaned up. So this is the rear end that my dad originally put in the 55 Chevy that I have now. You can see it's out of a Chevelle. And man, I tell you what, if this rear end can talk, it probably could tell you some serious stories. Some serious stories.
Well, what are you waiting for?
I don't know, some
Mysterious stories. So it used to be a 373 posi 12 bolt, same deal. Then when my cousin got the 55, 3-speed and 375s, you just can't get anywhere.
275.
373. It was a 373 posi. And you just can't drive it with a 3-speed. Well, you can, but you're just getting ran over on the freeway. So my cousin put it's a 256 posi now, which is pretty funny because the ring gear is all the way over It's like super thin, thin ring gear. It's like opposite of what a low gear would be. So about 3 or 4 years ago, I rebuilt the thing, I re-bearing the whole deal for him, so it is all fresh. Pinion seal is leaking, the pinion bearings were worn out. So I re-bearing the whole thing back when my cousin was trying to get it on the road. And then the car just sat, obviously, and then everything happened and I wound up with the car. And you can see a little tidbit on this thing. You can see these really trick one-off gussets on here. So Randy Walls welded these on here for my cousin because of these little spring purchases. The thing with the janky traction bars that the 55 had, that this would twist, and it was actually wadding up the spring purchases. So they put this on here as a reinforcement in the car. That's some technology right there. That's some clean stuff. Little history lesson on that. If you don't know who Randy Walls is, I'm sorry, man. You need to do some research on drag racing. Okay. So we got our new brake lines here. And then I put a little -3 here because like I mentioned before that the brake line used to be over here on the, so 55 is on the passenger side and the Chevelle is on the, pretty sure it's on the driver's side and then the 55 is on the passenger side. So my dad's fix is he had 2 brake lines, flex lines put together to come over. So I redid the line and I just put a little -3 fitting here, which you could take out and use a 3/16 normal inverted flared flex line, but I thought it'd be easier just to use a little -3 flex. My cousin got all confused on this. He didn't know what to do. I'll have to demonstrate how you attach a -3 to a -3. That's gonna be the flex line, but that's down the road. So we're gonna get this thing in the car. We're gonna get the jack. We're gonna come in from the side because we got the jack stands in the way. Holding up this iron, Detroit iron.
Detroit, baby!
So we got the rear end put in the car, as you can see. It's not 100% yet. I want to get some washers for the U-bolts here. I had some flats and I tried to get 4 more. And I couldn't match them up, and I got some bigger ones, and because of this radius, it's not working out. So I'm gonna get some lock nuts that are smaller. So I need to do this. I need to deal with the U-bolts. I need to finish up the brake line. And you can see, we'll show you a little bit more here in a minute, but I started the exhaust, and I needed to get the rear end in here to see, well, the rear end and the gas tank, to see where the tailpipe's gonna come out, because I'm coming all the way out the back. So I have a muffler there, and then I'm gonna have another, like a resonator muffler, so I gotta figure out where that's gonna be. I got a tranny cooler with a fan on it. That's going underneath the car too, and I think I'm gonna put it over in front of the rear end over here where I have a little more space to stand it up. So that's why we needed to, well, we need to get it in here anyways to get the car together, but we need to get it in here to finish up other things. It's like a big snowball effect. These are the reverse eyelid leaf springs. I'm not sure if we showed these.
We didn't show them, but I think you mentioned them previously.
Yeah, so these, this is all out of the 55. So these are brand new reverse eyelid, front and rear. So where the bushing's at, it's on top. The spring's on top instead of on the bottom, so it drops. The car, I think it's 2 inches. I think it's 1 inch on each side, so it should drop at 2 inches in the rear, which would go good with the springs that we modified. And then if it's still not low enough, once I get it all done, all the weight in the car, I could take out a couple of these leaf springs to get the right height. This pack might be a little too much. We're not gonna do anything with it now until we get it all the weight in the car and on the ground and aligned and see how it actually sits.
Comfortable there, sir?
Yeah, I'm super comfortable. So here's more of the exhaust I want to show you. And I think this is stainless, but it's the, I think it's a 409 stainless. It's the one that has a little, it's magnetic. It's got a little more steel in it.
4-speed dual quad?
No, it's not that kind of 409. So it's nice because it's lighter, but it's more durable because of the stainless in it. But yeah, the exhaust is coming along nicely. It got it wide over. We're doing a single, well, it's all 2.5. So it's 2.5, but it's wide into a single 2.5. Normally I was planning on doing a 2 1/4 into a single 2.5, but I just did the whole thing 2.5. I got my nice little prototype here. This is just temporary. I'm gonna do a clamp behind the flexi. So all this in front here, so just be hanging off the header, but it's not heavy at all. It's like this thing doesn't weigh anything. And then I'll do a couple on the muffler, and then it'll go over, and then I'll have the other pipe, which is right there. I don't know if you can see it. The other muffler, which is going to be like a resonator. It's going to be back more, and then I'll have a tailpipe, so it'll go a single exhaust out the back, but not straight out the back like everybody seems to do on the Tri-5s. You have dual exhaust straight out the bumper. I don't know if that's the default exhaust on these things.
Hi, Billy Mays here for the
1980s exhaust. Like, seriously, what is going on here?
I got the slip yoke put in the driveline here, and our nice Hughes Performance transmission. We're going to use a stock driveline, but I'll have to get it cut down because the 400 is longer than the 3-speed manual that was in here. And then I'm going to run the rear brake line. It's going to come down this side, but then it's going to cross over probably on one of these body structures here. We'll tuck it over so it's not in the way of the driveline or anything. What do you think? I think it's coming along nice. Let's grab the gas tank. Let's put the gas tank in this thing. This is the original gas tank out of the car. We just got it cleaned up and obviously powder coated, and then I did the straps. These are the original straps. I did them in black to have a contrast. Looks really good. I think it turned out really trick. This is a top side. It doesn't go that way, but. So I got a new sender. Well, this sender actually came with the 55, another hand-me-down. And if you know about these older cars, they have a sock. This sock normally goes on the pickup here. This is the one that was on it. I took it off, but I removed it because there's still debris and stuff. There's kind of some slimy in the bottom down here and blowing it and stuff. You can't really clean it out. So I don't want to worry or risk plugging up this sock and then having it a problem inside the tank if I'm alongside the road or before I go on a trip, and I can't check it. So I took the sock off. I'm gonna run this center like this to pick up like this. And I'm gonna run an external filter that I can check, one that's clear and I can look at it, and then I'll change it and keep an eye on it. So now I gotta put the sender into here. We got a new gasket. And this thing, all this, I think it came with the sender, but normally it has a new plug because these gas tanks have a low point drain on them right there. So I've never pulled it out, so hopefully it doesn't leak. If it does, we'll address it at that point. I'm trying to get this screw started in this rubber here. There we go. I put a little anti-seize on it just because of the tank here is a little weathered. I want to give it a little help. All the help it can get. Let's fish this bad boy in here.
Fish?
Fish. There it is.
Sounds like you want to go fishing.
Nope, definitely don't want to go fishing. No fishing here.
Is fishing like top 3 list of things you would never want to do?
Yeah, fishing's right next to golf. I don't want to offend anybody. It's probably golf and then fishing. Things you'll never see me doing. And then third would probably be like boating. So this fine automobile uses an O-ring on the filler. It goes into the tank here, but then it's a hard line that comes up to a flex to the other half of the filler on the gas tank. So I'm not gonna do this right now because I'm gonna get a new piece of flex for the filler. And then that and the breather, part of it is super dry and it broke when I took it off. So I'm gonna get a new one of that. So I'm not gonna worry about this. I just wanna get the gas tank in it. I'll get the other stuff. I don't need to bore you with all the exciting hoses and stuff. So I'm gonna use all my fat, hold this gas tank. It's really heavy. Really heavy. Oh, it's a heavy gas tank. Oh, I just scratched the paint. No. See, I don't know if you can see it. There's a little filler right here. It's kind of in the way. See if we can scoot that over a little bit. Get that over there a little more. There we go. Get this gas tank sitting up in here. Hey, look at them on no hands.
That was
Some mysterious stories. There's straps. And then we have these little deals. I don't know what exactly they're supposed to do. It's like a fancy washer. That's what GM calls them. It's in the owner's manual. Look at the gas tank and it says, oh yeah, little deals. So you get little deal number 2. Wow. You're gonna snug them down. Just like it was made for it. Oh yeah. Just want to admire it for a while. We got everything laid out here. This is what came with it. This bumper was already off the car when we got it. And the brackets were still on the frame. So all these bolts here, well, some of this stuff I added, but these bolts were in a baggie saying that they're rear bumper bolts. So I'm pretty sure I got the bumper brackets laid out. I can't exactly remember how they came apart. Not how they came apart, but which location. So I'm just tightening up these brackets just snug so they have slack in here. So I'm going to put it on. It's not super tight to the frame, so it scratches going down the side of it. So I'm pretty sure this just has these little retainer clips here. Another little hokey 57 moment. So I didn't take this apart. This thing was just dangling on the trunk. This is our license plate light. Pretty sure these just screw in here. Then these little retainer clips is what hold this thing in here. Not much, about like that. I guess gravity really helps you out on these ones. And I don't know if you noticed here or not, it had the rubber piece tucked in here. It's kind of pinched in. And I'm pretty sure that's what causes all the debris to catch in here, and that's what causes this. And I just didn't want to keep it continuing to catch debris and getting worse and worse. So we just took the rubber out of here, and whatever gets in here could just fall through. But I mean, this thing's gonna probably be in the garage, so it shouldn't get any more garbage in there. But we're gonna set you up over here. We're gonna put the bumper on. We got the bumper on it, and like I said, I'm going to change the hardware so it's still loose, needs to be adjusted. But man, I think this thing's really coming together. I really like it. Get the plate put on it, get the tail light. I got the tail light inside. I think this one was broken because this one's new. Yeah, coming back, see how this thing keeps progressing. It's really coming together. You know what you got to do. You got to like, share, subscribe, give us a comment, see what you think about the progress. Come on back for the next one, man.